Good Friday morning. Welcome to Real Talk. My name is Jerry Miller, and this is an insider's guide to real estate life and the pursuit of happiness. It's presented by the Yes Team Realtors, trusted advisors in the game, Keith and Yonna Smith of the Yes Team Realtors. Judah Wickower is our director, a.k.a. Alfred. I'm a.k.a. Robin. And why don't we go to the studio cam and welcome a.k.a. the distinguished gentleman, a.k.a. Batman, a.k.a. the eight-figure realtor. We call him Keith Smith here. Good morning.
You call me other things, too.
Nice guy, my homie.
No.
What's up, dude?
Man, this is probably, outside of being with my wife, probably the most two exciting hours I have every week. So.
And I need to emphasize this. This man is leaving the house. He's not quarantining. So if it was just hanging out with his wife and coming here, I would feel that compliment had less merit. But this guy's riding his bicycle. He's supporting local businesses like Angelique's.
I am, well, she's going to come in next Tuesday. I'm excited about it. We're going to bring her in remotely. I won't get anywhere with this, but man, I'm going to try to see if I can get just a little bit of her secret recipe out.
Oh, she's not going to give it to you.
I know that, but I'm going to try.
Yeah?
I'm going to try. It is awesome, man.
The catfish?
And anything that she puts that on, if you put that on a rock, it's gonna be excellent.
You're talking about that batter from Angelique's, right?
That's exactly right.
Angelique is going to join us. She's fabulous. Opening up, why don't we give a plug for one of our sponsors on that note? Dairy Market?
Yeah, thank you. So she's moving into the Dairy Market facility. Right. Hopefully we can shoot from there. They're a little bit behind schedule. Go figure, COVID.
Right.
But we can do that. So before we get kicked off, I just want to give a shout out to a fellow Marine, Bellamy. I'll let you take the lead on that, but I just wanted to give him a shout out. Couldn't think of a better guy to be part of this
Police Civilian Review Board.
Correct.
And Keith Smith, you have
a little in.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have a lot of ties to this board, don't you?
Little bit.
Right.
Little bit.
Should we leave it at that, or you want to go down that road?
Go down the road.
Okay. I mean, his brother-in-law, is he the chairman?
He's the chairman. Yeah.
He's the chairman.
He makes
James
me
Watson.
call him Mr. Chairman all the time.
Oh, you do?
He does his, please call me by my proper.
So you're saying when I see James Watson, who I love, love James Watson, known this man for 20 years almost. So when I see him rolling around in that nice BMW of his, I have to call him Mr. Chairman?
And bow.
Oh, wow, James Watson. You big time now, dude. You big time.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
We love James Watson.
You could not meet
A+ people.
Beyond A+++. You could not meet a more level-headed, he's literally the perfect guy for the job.
Especially now.
He's the perfect job. Right. He's a perfect person. I shouldn't use guy. He's the perfect person.
Can't say guy?
He's a person. It could be a perfect woman for it too, or trans or somebody.
Look at you, so open-minded. Keith Smith.
Just love on people.
Amen, brother.
Love on people.
Talk to us about the market.
Yeah, so we were going to do today a focus on some debunking some current beliefs of buyers, but we came across a couple of things last couple of days, and we're going to got a little bit of a tease, and I'm trying to learn from you, but a little bit of a tease from the back end of the show. There's some new, rather influential for the market circumstances happening in new construction, and we want to talk about how that's going to impact, at least my opinion, how that's going to impact the market. But we kind of wanted to start off a little bit about, so what's going on today? So both builders and real estate agents or realtors, we have to get Mona in here to teach me how to do that, says the market is back. And if you could do slide 1, Judah, I'd appreciate it. So look, at the end of the day, and I'm not, I don't like to toot my own horn, but we on this show... You
predicted it.
We called it.
Everything that has happened... Okay, I'm going to toot your horn.
We called it.
You did not toot your horn.
We collectively called it. Because all I did was regurgitate... Look, I do a ton of reading and research.
That's what you do. That's the skill, is the reading. Well. You called exactly the V-shaped recovery. Yeah. You called what would happen. Yeah. You called supply chain issues. Correct. You called inventory shortage.
Well, again, it's not me. I mean, lots of really smart people. I'm just fortunate enough to have this microphone in front of me and these cameras and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it did what we talked about it would do. It did what the experts and all the PhDs have said. It was a V. And it's funny because I constantly, get this question, and we're going to talk a little bit later in the show. Is it good for us? Should I buy resale or should I buy new construction? And we're going to talk about the benefits of both, and more importantly, getting a trusted advisor to help you navigate that process. But we get asked this all the time. I had it on a phone call this morning. Somebody in the academic space, not in this area, they don't understand why the real estate market. They don't get it. Why is the real estate market in fuego?
Well, this is what the tea leaves say, what I learned from the distinguished gentleman. You have a lot of people interested in buying something, and you don't have much of it.
Well, and you got that, and then you couple that with, we were just talking about it in our pre-production meeting, which we actually had today,
right?
Guys. We actually had one.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, there was an instant we get these in NAR all the time, National Association of Realtors. So, again, it's just not me. I'm just reading and regurgitating it in a certain way. But basically what the Fed did, or said, I should say, they didn't actually do anything. They're predicting that this 3% is going to stay for a substantial period of time, which again is going to put pressure on inventory, right? We talk about affordability and then affordable housing, two different things. But the lower when I picked up a cup of coffee this morning, Will over at MarieBette, we were talking about this very thing, and he goes, should I refinance? And I said, well, what's your current rate? And it was
He asked you that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you get that a lot, don't you?
I get that a lot, yeah.
Right.
Should I refinance? How's the market? Should I buy? Should I sell?
You love those questions.
Yeah, well, that's what we do, right? That's right. That's what we do. But I said, look, he told me some. I won't give the information out, but some specific information, and I said, well, you're a little, you're not going to pick up that much, and the cost that's going to do it, particularly if you're not going to stay in the home for a long period of time, it probably is not in your best interest. But here's a couple name of some trusted advisors. Scott being one.
Scott Morris.
Scott being Morris. I said, look, reach out to these guys or gals, and they will point you in the right direction. But at a high cursory level, the rule of thumb used to be 2% spread. I don't think that's the case any longer. But maybe we'll bring on Scott to kind of walk us through that process.
Michael Guthrie watching, CEO Roy Wheeler.
Hey, Michael.
He says a realtor is absolutely needed when buying new construction. Welcome, Michael Guthrie. Thank you for joining us on the broadcast.
Well, to just play off of that for a second, I read an article, and I didn't bring it with me, on Inman from Zillow. Zillow's actually was an article titled from Zillow of all places, the value of a real estate agent or a realtor in any transaction. So it was pretty interesting when you have
Zillow saying you guys are legit. That says something. Right?
Well, exactly right.
Yeah. It's because they would have every reason not to, and almost try to marginalize to try to capture more market share. They're saying the absolute opposite.
So I didn't bring the article with me, but the term they actually use is what we've been using.
Trusted advisor.
That's exactly right. They must be watching. Totally watching.
Michael Guthrie, you'll like this. We're also live on Instagram Live here, where you have the distinguished gentleman on I Love CVille, where we're in front of 12,000 plus millennials. Ray Cadell, welcome to the broadcast. Your client, Johnny Cornales, is watching right now.
Hey, Johnny.
Give the show a like and a share. Real estate agents that are watching the program, if you have perspective, put it in the comment section. Share it on Instagram or share it on LinkedIn. We can send us a DM or a tweet as well. Barbara Lundgren, welcome to the broadcast. So this came up. I'm so glad you brought this up. So this came up. This has now come up twice for me. It came up once on Tuesday in my conference call with our common client, John Kerber, the CEO of Dominion Custom Homes. He builds a fabulous product. He's got a listing the Yes Team Realtors do in Prophet Ridge that is one of the best listings out there.
What up,
and he talked about impacts on the supply chain and how it's impacting the cost with new construction, Keith Smith.
So I want to get to that to the back end, right? Because what I don't want to do is start with what I think is a negative issue to the market, and could be substantially impact the market. And it's interesting because I come from I got a different.
This is your background.
Man, I've been through
Right.
been through what's happening before, and unfortunately, what's happening down in the Gulf Coast is only going to make it worse.
Right.
So let's go back to why realtors and builders are so confident. National Association of Realtors just did an analogy that went out, released it. Month over month for July was up, and you talked about this on our previous show, 24.7%. So we're up 24% in sales. It's just setting records after records after records. The same thing with builder confidence, and I suspect that's going to change as we start talking about this other subject. But they're up over 39% year over year. The same basic time frame. So we got builders that are confident that the market's going to go. We've got we got sales that are unprecedented. And all this is continually putting pressure on
affordability.
Affordability. So if you wouldn't put slide 2 up. So we talked about this earlier. So I just read really smart people.
Yeah.
And Dr. Yoon is one he's the National Association of Realtors chief economist, head guy. If anybody who most real estate agents that are watching this know who he is and watch his videos. The people who are not in this space and want to kind of know where market's going, Google the guy's name.
Okay.
He's an awesome speaker, Y-U-N. He's an awesome speaker, and he makes this stuff very approachable. He doesn't kind of geek out on you a little bit. Jude, if you can leave that up a little bit, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. So, basically what he's saying is we're actually way past, and this is what we talked about earlier, we're actually past where we were in the pre-pandemic thing, and that's the way of this V. And as far as he's concerned, he's seeing this running through 2021. And I agree with him on that. Again, we'll talk a little bit later about some maybe hiccups coming in the road down the road to the market, so we can go ahead and give the folks watching a bit of what I perceive as a heads up.
Uh-huh.
So, I'm going through my list here.
I like it.
So, housing recovery index, and that would be slide number 3. You want me to get to the fun stuff?
I like where this whole show's going. I'm sitting back and literally absorbing and learning this, Keith.
Thank you. So slide number 3. So Realtor.com, and this is an important slide to talk about. So this is nationwide. They break it down by state, so we don't actually have a version of this for our particular market, but we can talk about that a little bit on the back end of it. But if you take a look at what's out there, what they do is they're tracking how this recovery starts. So Realtor.com, which is part of National Association of Realtors, has started this tracking, and it's a pretty neat tool. You can put your mouse over different sections and get different numbers. But the bottom line is we're actually peaking above where we were in the pre-pandemic. So somewhere around February 1, they're holding 100 as a baseline on that stuff. So I don't want to get too crazy into statistics and numbers, but that's a good-looking V.
I love that chart.
Yeah, it's a good-looking V.
It's a great-looking chart here. And that literally looks like a V.
Yeah, well, if you go back to our March shows, I made some slides up that look pretty...
Very similar to this.
Very similar to that.
Positive news, my friend.
I think it's positive, but I'm trying to be a little cautious about it.
For what reason? We know rates are going to stay locked in and low for a long time. Jerome Powell told us that this week, chair of the Fed. It's a good time right now for housing.
It's absolutely a great time to buy and sell. It's unprecedented. And the same thing when I was getting this cup of coffee, I had to explain the old 18% in 1988. And you just see the millennials' faces just melt.
Right, that's a credit card interest rate.
Yeah.
Not a house interest rate.
Now you mentioned it, yeah.
18%.
So anyway, and I got my...
So the question's coming in already from Andre. What do you think of the Fed's 5-year announcement? I mean, I love it. It's great for stock portfolios. It gives investor confidence and made Wall Street move. My portfolio appreciated.
I didn't check it this morning. How's it looking?
What's that?
How's the Dow looking?
I'll let you know right now.
Because I know yesterday, much like the housing, it went above pre-pandemic for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, we're setting records. Now, we still have this massive divide between Wall Street and Main Street. I mean, you have green across the board. The NASDAQ right there on screen, Keith. You see it green, almost a percentage point up. The S&P, the Dow, all up. I mean, green across the board.
Yeah.
When Jerome Powell straight up says we're going to have low interest rates for years to come, that creates consumer confidence. Is that a fair read?
I think it's a fair read, but you mentioned something on your show yesterday, and we talked about it multiple times here. Unemployment's still a little soft.
10%.
Right? Yeah, it's not a good number. And, considering, as you said, we're roughly 300,000 people, that's 30,000 people.
In Central Virginia.
That's a lot. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a job, then you're in a depression.
Exactly.
Right?
And that doesn't even consider the folks that are underemployed.
Correct.
Or not making the income they once did.
Correct.
Let's take the folks that went back to the restaurant sector. I mean, I think it's safe to say they don't have the same customer demand, so they're not making the same gratuity revenue.
So I'll leave some restaurants out of it, but I've been kind of talking to some folks around town on that end of it. And some who adapted well actually are kind of hitting the same numbers as they did last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The ones that have not, maybe not as much. But it was different. It would be more folks that were geared towards takeout to start with, right? So the ones that were geared towards sit-downs obviously are not doing so well. So, but it was some interesting information. So the next subject I want to kind of get to is, should I buy new construction or should I buy existing? So at the end of the day, and I've got a fun little slide. If you can go to slide number 5, Judah, that I put together, kind of keeping this motif of Batman and Robin and
I saw it.
And superheroes. But whatever we're going to talk about right now, you need to seek out a trusted advisor. Somebody that you can communicate, that can dissect all this information and make it digestible, make it understandable, and help you navigate this through this thing. So it's when it comes up, it's a picture of a young boy in his little Batman cape and all that stuff. But a trusted advisor does. There you go. Doesn't. I'm sorry for the poor graphics, but so only how to fix stuff. It shows you how to get through the tough issues, right? And so anyway, I thought it was a cute little
question.
Thing.
Questions coming in.
Cool. That's what I was hoping this.
I mean,
do.
is
That's
all
what
this
I was
stuff
looking
causing
for.
house values to rise? It seemed it would. I mean, that's what folks are asking. We got businessmen and agents asking. Seems like housing prices are rising, Keith.
Well, they are, but they're not. We've got to look at this from the lens of the last implosion. Right, we talked about this a bunch of times. They may be rising, but they're rising in these single-digit increases, right? 4-5%, that kind of thing. And as long as the interest rates stay low, you can absorb some of that. And again, when we get to talking about what this new construction possible issue coming up, you can absorb that a little bit, right? Because if you're paying 2.75?
Yeah.
Your monthly payment. So
you could absorb an extra 15, 20, 30K.
That's exactly.
At 2.75.
That's exactly.
That's what
right.
you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that
it might sting at closing, but you're getting 2.75.
Yeah. Well, Michael Guthrie talks about this all the time, and I will steal it every day of the week. Most folks buy to how much they can afford a month, right? So if your interest rates goes down, what you can buy per month goes up. As soon as that interest rates start going up, then that may have some impact in the market on it and on that end of it. So the difference between new construction and, because we get asked this question all the time. So I'm going to throw it at you, so I'm not doing a little bit less talking in this stuff. So what do you think is the major difference between new construction from a buyer's perspective?
Yeah.
If you're going to buy new construction or you're going to buy an existing home, what's the major things that somebody might want to look at?
Well, I mean, in a COVID time, you have the relief that no one's lived in it.
There you go.
I mean, in a COVID...
That's not even on my list. Good catch.
I mean, in the COVID time, I'm just thinking about... I always try to think things, this keeps me from getting into trouble. What would my wife do? What would my wife want? What can keep my wife happy? You know what I'm saying? And from you asking me that question, it's so weird. You do that long enough, and eventually you start thinking first, what does my wife want? And then you think about so she would say
I'm
that.
smiling because that actually happened to me yesterday.
Right. So she would literally say that. If you asked that question to her, she would say, I would have relief that my kid is in this house because no one else has lived in it.
Yeah.
And while I may say, there's Clorox and we can clean a home that is not new construction, let's cut to the chase. The better half, the mom and the wife, does a lot of the influencing when it comes to where you're buying and selling, Keith. Is that safe to say?
I do not want to get into trouble with Mrs. Miller, so I'm going to agree with you. But it's funny. So we're doing these series of Tuesdays, bringing local businesses in, and as you know, I'm into biking now, and probably spending a little bit too much money at the Blue Ridge Cyclery.
Is that the one in Ix?
Actually, I go to the one on 29 North.
Okay, cool. Why do you go out there?
I just hit it off with the salespeople over there,
Okay.
and we developed a relationship. And as you know, and it's not that the downtown one isn't great. I just happened to go there, and we just hit it off. And salesmanship is all about relationship.
Oh,
and
You felt a connection.
there was, but it's funny because I went there yesterday. So is Yonna watching?
Yonna, are you watching? Yonna watches the shows. I think Yona's probably watching.
So I had to pick up some new stuff for the bike.
What'd you get? Some.
I got stuff.
Okay, so what'd you get? Some lights.
I got stuff. So I'm literally paying for it, thinking,
What is Yonna gonna think of this?
what would Yonna do?
Yeah.
And Yonna probably wouldn't be doing what I just did. So
You have champagne taste.
I do.
You like gadgets. You like brands. And I've known you for 2 years, and I figured this out. You like the nice Apple Watch, the new phones when they come out. You like to look sharp. You have champagne taste.
Yeah, beer budget. But anyway, it's.
To answer your question, a buyer of new construction would also like the opportunity to customize a house.
There you go.
And say, I can build this to spec or take part of it to spec, especially now when, Keith, we need more home office space.
Yeah.
The house has got to be a palace and not just a home.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the positives you kind of out.
Chemistry's flowing right now.
There you go. That's what I was looking to get to. You're 100% right? New, right? I'm buying something new, right? It's the same thing. Do I buy a used car? Do I buy a new car, right? You get a new car. You got the new car smell. Yeah. It's clean. It has all the new gadgets. That's the other thing. It has so you get something new on it, and it meets all your boxes on that kind of stuff. And you start off, you're starting off day one on the life cycle of a house. On the other hand, when we get a little bit later, new construction around here tends to be a little bit on the pricey side. Hard to find something, at a reasonable, say a first-time home buyer.
Oh yeah.
Price range.
Especially if you're looking for single-family detached.
It just doesn't.
It doesn't exist.
Well, you can go. We'll talk about. You can go to the other side of the mountain. Right. There's a couple of small options in Fulvana County.
It's not going to exist in Charlottesville or Albemarle.
Yeah, so you're looking new construction in the upper threes and kind of just climbing. It's all the way up to $500,000, $750,000, and stuff like that. So again, the different on existing stuff, and this is what you kind of have to, as an agent, you kind of really have to invest your time in your client and understand their why, right? And that's what Zillow was trying to say if you read that article. We can provide you all this great data. We can't provide you the why, right? Why does Mr. and Mrs. Miller want to move?
Yeah. Why do they want to live there on that side of town?
Or what's more important? What's
their priority list?
What's their priority list on it? So some, existing homes, there's certain price points on it. The big thing about it is a now thing, right? So new construction is a timeline, right? Some of these custom guys that we were talking to, they're booked all the way halfway through 2021.
Yeah. I mean, our common client, John Kerber,
yeah.
He says his business is gangbusters.
Correct. So everybody, so you've got this timing type of thing. So I guess the premise that I kind of wanted to get to on should I buy new and should I buy existing, there isn't a magic one-fit-all answer, and we get these questions all the time. And generally what we do is we back up and we say, okay, put all this stuff down. Let's have a Zoom call, right? Or let's have a respectful distance or social distance.
7 feet 10 inches.
7 feet 10 inches.
Not quite 8.
Not quite 8. Discussion about why. What is your why? Why do you want to do this? And then we start going through the pitfalls, because what will happen, or the positives and the negatives, what will happen is your why might determine, okay, look, maybe new construction is good. So this one house that we were talking about that had a 2.75 is a new construction in Louisa. The house just happens to be
2.75 fixed on a 30-year mortgage.
30-year mortgage.
I mean, think about that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's under $500,000.
I thought my 4% that I secured in March for Glenmore was good. I'm actually talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What? Oh.
I mean, it's a point in change. It's right on the cusp.
You probably need a point and a half.
I got a point and a quarter to right on the cusp. We're going through the mechanics now. I got 4% locked in March.
Well, here's the difference where it might.
I mean, 4% I thought was amazing.
Yeah, I mean it's. So the question is how much it's going to cost you to do that, and blah 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 blah, and and then the second part of that is how long I'm going to stay there.
Right, and then also
you said something to me the other day. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
And you've been on my mind since Tuesday on this. I think you said that was going to be your forever house. Did I hear that right?
It depends on who you talk to.
Got it.
Yeah, I see it as
because there's no such a thing.
I see it as wood, bricks. I see it as an investment. And if someone comes in and says, Jerry, I'm going to give you this, I'll be like, all right, sign on the dotted line. My wife, on the other half, says, there's where Trey rode his bike in the living room. Yeah.
Well, there's no such thing as a forever house.
I agree.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Miller.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, eventually...
There's no such thing as a forever house.
Well, the reason I brought it up because we talked about it in the last show. You wanted to put a tin roof on your house or something?
We thought about it. Yeah, we thought about it. Those are quite expensive, especially when you got a crib that's 5,300 square feet.
So the show on Tuesday was about cellaring and what you can do to the house and all that stuff for those who didn't watch it. And that would be probably, if you would ask me, we would say, no, that's not a good investment.
You're saying the ROI is not there.
The return on investment's not there and all that stuff.
Yeah. So John Updike, your colleague, is watching. Good. He says some of his clients buying new construction because of the safety element.
Sure.
So that's a reference to COVID.
Sure, totally. Safety's good.
We have other folks saying that as well. Frank Bailiff, welcome to the broadcast.
Hey, Frank.
Your buddy Neil Williamson is watching. So if you have any perspective to relay to Neil, Frank Brown, hello, Scott Morris, Ike Allen, Christopher Eagle. Christopher Eagle, we appreciate your viewership. Ray Cadell, welcome to the broadcast. You have 5 real estate firms in Charlottesville and Central Virginia watching.
Since Frank Bailiff is watching,
yeah,
I would love his feedback on about what we're about ready to talk about.
So you're talking about the supply chain.
The supply chain.
So let's do this, guys. Folks that are in remodeling or new construction, if you know somebody that's in that space, remodeling or new construction, tag them, tell them about the show, and welcome them to the feed. Because we're about to talk about a supply chain issue that this is literally the second time I've heard about this supply chain issue this week.
Yeah.
And when people a lot smarter than me, Keith Smith, and people a lot smarter than me, John Kerber, bring this up, I stop and listen. So I'm going to get out of your way.
Yeah, so we were joking around calling this a little bit the crystal ball time, and I gave Judah slide 6, just a little crystal ball, just trying to have a little fun with this.
Your buddy Dick Kelly says this is a valuable and good discussion that's needed to be heard.
Thank you. So, I had a couple of conversations with, I'm reading a bunch of trade magazines. So the Blue Ridge Home Builders Association or National Home Builders Association are saying, and Frank would probably agree with me on this, depending on the size of the house, lumber packages now. So this is all the framing material required to build the home, floor system, walls, roof. The framing perspective of it is going up somewhere between $5,000 and $15,000. So let's just, for an argument's sake, say we got a $500,000 build and it's going up. The framing package is going up 10%.
You're talking about $50K.
No, 10,000. I apologize.
Okay, 10,000. 10%. 10,000.
My mistake.
Okay.
10,000. That is, what? 2%? Right? I got that math right?
Yeah.
Roughly?
Yeah.
So, right, 1% would be 5,000, so it's 2%.
2%.
So, everybody thinks builders make a ton of money. They don't. Their real net margins on this stuff is not huge numbers, and they can't take a 2% hit or a $10,000 hit on a $500,000 house.
So you're basically saying this is going to be passed on to the consumer.
So what? Not only is it going to be passed on to the consumer, the conversations I'm having with a couple of the builders, Frank was not one of them. That's why I'd love to hear his 2 cents on it. Is you're going to start seeing escalation clauses in contracts.
Walk me through that.
Okay, so I'm only coming from experience because I've been through these a couple of times before.
Yeah, this guy, how many homes have you built?
Enough.
A lot, right?
Yeah, enough, yeah.
Yeah.
So
he built a lot of Lake Monticello, Keith Smith.
we built enough.
Yeah.
So we've had this before, right? Where drywall went through the roof. Now what we're having, the reason why lumber prices are up is because of tariffs with Canada and just a lack of supply, right? This is a problem in the supply chain on end of it. We're unfortunately now have an issue down in the Gulf Coast.
Right.
And for those, Frank's been around long enough to know when these hurricanes come through, plywood goes up, right? Drywall goes up. So all of a sudden now these tight margins are going to get even tighter. And what an escalation clause does, and a couple of my builders' friends was nice enough to send me some language that the National Association of Home Builders are using. But in simple terms, let's assume a framing package is $8, whatever that number is. And then usually it's almost becomes like an allowance, right? And they'll say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Miller, the way I used to do it is I had a percentage, right? If that framing package went up more than 2 or 3%, you paid for anything above that, right? But there's different languages and different approaches to it. But the bottom line is the builders are not going to be able to absorb this. So now you have contracts that are in place that are 6 or 9 months processed through it. They signed them, 6 or 9 months ago or 3 months ago, and all of a sudden, Frank Bailiff's framing package is now $10,000 more expensive. And if they have not had provisions in their contract to cover that, this is going to be either Frank is taking a haircut, or is this going to be a difficult conversation?
Well, how would it work? Would the haircut?
So it becomes like an allowance item. Again, this is just how we did it.
Sure, I get that.
That doesn't mean it was right? But at some level, this discussion is going to have to happen.
Can I play devil's advocate with you?
Sure.
Okay, and I'm learning here.
Sure.
Okay, I've never built a home for myself.
Most
Okay.
people who know me thought I didn't build much either. Anyway,
I've never built a home for myself. So if you sign a contract 6 months ago,
Depends on the contract now.
so what's the normal time frame for a custom home? Is it 6, 9 months?
Yeah, so custom can be a year. It depends on the size of it and so forth and so on. But semi-customs, folks like what Frank does, or customs. I think Frank does have a custom division, but I may be wrong on that end of it. It's
Called 6 to 12 months.
no, 4 to 6 months is kind of the norm.
Okay.
But we'll call that from once he can actually get on, or they can get on the property, the foundation's in the ground kind of thing.
If you sign a contract and say this is the parameters of the deal,
Sure.
and
So-
then in the sure.
Just let me stop you there real quick.
Okay.
So the difference between the difference between resales and new construction. New resale contracts are pretty standardized. New constructions are not. They're very all
Just
over.
answering my question. Then.
Yeah.
So you're saying
the chemistry's working.
It's a malleable contract. So you're saying you can sign a contract on a deal for new construction and building your dream home, say 4 months ago,
So-
and if the supply chain is impacted and the cost of construction goes up in that 4-month period, the contract changes.
No. So if there's a provision in this contract, then it could. I'm just talking about if I'm going to build a house now for you, and I know unless I bake into my cost of construction this $10,000 or this $15,000, which now just made the house more expensive. But what some builders are talking about doing is putting an escalation clause in it, because nobody knows what's going to happen 6 months from now. And those builders have been around long enough. This is very cyclical. It happens quite on a regular basis, over decades, at least 2 or 3 times I've been involved in it. So it's just something to be aware of from a buyer's perspective, right? So most builders have their own contract. Other builders use some variation of the Blue Ridge Home Builders Association, the local builders anyway, or the VR, Virginia Realtors, new construction. And I reviewed it pretty closely this morning, both of those documents, and there's no provisions in there about escalating pricing.
So you're saying then the builder takes the haircut if there's no escalator?
Or there's going to be a very difficult...
Or no provision.
Or there's going to be a difficult comment. Now, somebody who's listening could probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I couldn't find one on that end of it. But you're going to start, particularly in the custom guys side of the house, they're going to have to do it because they can't absorb up to 1% or 2% or whatever it is of the total sales price. The numbers just isn't there to go ahead and do it. So it's something, and the reason what I'm a little concerned about this, just to get this out, is not necessarily on the new construction side. I think they're going to figure this out, and as long as interest rates stay as low as they can, the buyer could potentially absorb that. That's the reason I wanted to start with that 2.75% or 3%. Sure. They can maybe absorb this $5,000 or $10,000, and there's an equilibrium there that it kind of all makes sense. Or you're pulling it up now.
Oh, Neil Williamson just sent this.
There you go.
Neil, thank you. I mean, you want me to read this, and I'll read it to you?
That's in your link.
Yeah.
Your pre-production.
So
Thank you, Neil.
You guys are on the same page.
Thank
It's like the recent spike in softwood lumber
Yep.
prices has caused the price of an average new single-family home to increase by $16,148 since April 17th. Also similar, the price of the average new multifamily home has increased by $6K. I mean, so these are upticks, noticeable upticks.
So thank you, Neil, for doing that. So my quote is the association estimates that these recent gains have boosted a typical single-family home, I'm going to blah, blah, an apartment between 14 and 5,000. So the numbers are close.
Right.
Two different quotes, pretty darn close. So this is going to impact it. And I would, if Michael Guthrie is still watching, I'd love his read on this. I haven't had an opportunity to talk to him about it.
What do you think, Michael Guthrie? What's your perspective on this?
I think this is going to put much more pressure on existing home sales.
Talk to us about that.
Well, so if this $10,000 or $15,000 or whichever number you choose puts Mr. and Mrs. Miller out of the new construction market, but they still want to buy because it's 2.75 or 3%, they're now going to stop looking at new construction and they're going to say, Keith and Yonna Smith, I want to go look at resale. But the pool of resale just isn't growing. So it's going to put more pressure on that, which potentially will put more upward pressure on pricing
and make the area less affordable.
Correct. But I do want to make sure we focus on the pricing end of it because this really isn't 2008. There's a third party in a transaction now. We talk about this all the time. It's the lender, right? Assuming you're not doing cash.
Right.
Right. It's the lender and the appraiser, and the appraisers will not allow these double-digit increases. They're just not going to let it happen. So that is, in itself, is keeping pricing down, right? We talked about this on Tuesday. You can say, Keith, I want you to sell my house for that you bought for $800 for $1 million. I don't know, whatever the math is, for $1 million, and I'm going to tell you we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Because even if I got a buyer for $1 million,
it wouldn't appraise.
It wouldn't appraise.
Yeah.
So,
Ray Cadell, the real estate agent, he says this.
Genius, by the way.
And it's not just price escalation.
There you go.
Because pricing, but also availability of materials. I have a deal Monday that almost stopped because of late garage doors. My experience helped me survive that deal.
Well, again, trusted advisor.
That's why Guthrie's emphasizing with new construction, get a realtor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is
a perfect example.
Well, correct.
Yeah.
And thank you for doing it because on my notes we talked about lumber prices. It's also the availability of contractors.
Right. They're not.
We
have a shortage.
We have a mutual client. A mutual client and friend that we're trying to do a project for. I do some consulting work on the commercial side. We're a month behind schedule. They can't open up their facility.
Can I throw this to you? We have 10% unemployment, 30 million Americans out of work. Yet restaurants can't find staff. And new construction contractors, GCs, can't find subs.
I can't speak to the restaurants. That's above my pay grade.
Oh, those are my friends, and they're like, we can't find staff. The owners, like I text a handful of them. They're like, we can't find staff.
So I don't understand where we're getting a little bit off of this stuff, but it's a great conversation to have. I don't get it.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't
don't get it.
I can't explain it to somebody.
30 million people are out of work, yet people are saying they can't find staff.
So we're going to start talking regularly on the show about the Thomas Jefferson Community Land Trust, and we're going. We've hired a firm out of Richmond for the last couple of years. They do strategic planning and so forth and so on. And I was on the phone with them yesterday. I always like everybody. So how's business? Business is great, and they can't find people to hire.
I mean,
and I went, really? And he goes, yeah, we're trying to hire people. We can't. So it's very specific skill sets, right? So to go back to the construction side of it, right? I've done enough of it myself personally.
Right.
I understand how this works. An electrician is hard to come by because it takes a lot of time to become an electrician.
You have skills, yeah.
But and it's a whole separate subject. But the trade pipeline, right, of people learning to be trades folks, skilled workers or skilled trades folks, is just not there. And I know the National Home Builders Association is working diligently trying to solve that.
And it's unfortunate because you can make some serious bank. I mean, and you talk all the time. Is it your brother that's the custom cabinet maker?
He's a trim carpenter.
Oh, trim carpenter.
I call him doctor.
And this dude makes bank.
I call him doctor.
Yeah, a trim carpenter.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's booked for how far out? Yeah, you can't even get him, right?
He won't talk to his big brother.
Ray, you guys. Yonna, when Yonna says this, you know it's a good show. She goes, this is great information and a good show today.
Good.
Ray Cadell said, you're going to love this, Keith Smith. To save a deal on Monday, I literally had to get in a Bobcat myself and move gravel to keep
please
the deal
tell me there's video of that.
online. Ray, do you have video of you?
I got it. He's in the Bobcat. It's probably one with the joystick. He's got a trumpet in the other thing. It just.
I would love to see Ray Cadell in a Bobcat. Yeah. Cara's watching from Ting. Yeah. She's amazing.
Yeah.
She puts her hands up. She goes, I second Jerry's comment about finding workforce talent. Everyone's, they're like, we have 30 million people out of work, 10%, yet no one can find team members to work on their team as their businesses are expanding. Andre, dude, this is a good topic here. Andre says, I believe there is a lack of skilled labor. On our case, he talks about CVille Hop-On Tours. Andre Xavier, co-owner of CVille Hop-On Tours. He says, I believe there is a lack of skilled labor. In our case, CDL drivers.
Sure.
We lost folks and we need people. We just can't find them.
Yeah. So, took a note. This sounds like a show topic.
Definitely.
we need to bring in a guest that is an expert in this, and we'll do a little research.
And what would they be an expert in?
Don't know. Elizabeth came to mind.
Cromwell
came to mind
from the chamber, just because she knows everybody.
I would reach out to Elizabeth and say, "Hey, we're trying to find somebody."
We have 30,000 people out of work in Central Virginia, yet we have the owners of the businesses saying they can't find people to work in them.
So I actually have a Zoom call with the chief economist this afternoon for Virginia Realtors, and I'll ask her that question.
Yeah. Iris, Ray, you're going to love this. So Iris Luck is watching, and she says Ray Cadell's the man. This question comes in from Chris and Crozet. He says, this is a fantastic show and topic. We were literally talking about this morning over coffee. Guthrie says, K-Tech is doing a great job encouraging tradespeople to get in the workforce. More comments coming in about this topic. Carol Thorpe, welcome to the broadcast. So people legitimately, there's this divide.
Yeah. Again, I don't know how guys like Frank Bailiff or Christopher Bremen or Mr. Kerber, John Kerber. I'm glad I'm not building houses now because I just don't know how you can do it. But we had the same problem. This is not an unusual issue. We've been historically not producing skilled labor. And I don't know the reason why. It's just a fact.
Neil said who you should reach out to, Keith, is Network to Work program at PVCC.
Ooh, Ridge Schuyler.
I don't know.
Is that who it is?
Is that who it is, Neil? Andre says maybe Frank at PVCC, former chamber guy.
I know Frank, yeah.
Yeah.
But I believe Ridge Schuyler's running another program.
Is that Frank Dittmar?
No. Oh, God, can't remember his last name. Great guy.
Isn't?
Got a bit of a Yankee accent about him. So we got escalation clauses, particularly coming down. We've got new construction creeping up. We've got what they call soft lumber, right? So this is 2x4s, floor joists, roof systems. That's climbing up as much as 1% of the total sales price at this particular point. The new construction, I don't think, can absorb it. And I would love to see if Michael thinks the same way, or Ray thinks the same way, or any of the realtors. I think this is going to put more pressure on existing. I may be wrong, but that's my gut, and I'm kind of wanting to call this a little bit. I think you're gonna see that negatively impact the resale market.
Dude, your show is so dynamic. You
I don't know about
people
that.
literally helping us with the answers we're
Yeah.
looking
Well, that's
for.
what I was hoping for.
Paula
today.
Ann, yes, Ridge is in charge of that program.
There you go. I
Keith.
thought Ridge was. Yeah.
Ridge.
Ridge,
yeah.
good. Ridge, good people.
And Frank Iris, help me with his last name. You were exactly right. Frank.
I can't remember his last name.
Swillis? Squillace, Iris says. Michael also confirms this. Thank you, guys. I love when you chime in. Neil just confirmed Frank as well. Frank and Ridge run Network to Work.
Yeah, got it.
And then Christopher has a question for you.
Sure.
Keith, if the price of new construction goes up and some buyers have to switch back to looking at resales, is there an increase of buyers looking at older homes or homes that need updating or renovations?
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. So using a $203K renovation loan, it gives them the ability to have a home, good location, but then redo it like it is new and in their style.
Yep. Now but it's going to put pressure on the renovation market, which is already
A year booked
a ton of pressure on it. Because of COVID.
Because people are staying home and they're seeing all the faults in their house and they want to fix them. Or they're staying home because they don't want to sell them and they have to improve them.
Or let's see
Or
if the chemistry's working.
Mrs. Miller is telling Mr. Miller, what the hell are you doing here? Get somebody to fix this damn thing. What's the other or?
That wasn't it, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I know.
What's the old joke? Yes, honey, I know I need to get to that. You don't have to remind me every 6 months, right?
That sounds like my house.
No, well, Mrs. Smith will chime in on that. Literally this morning on the walk. You said you were going to do this. Yeah, I'll get to it.
Well, isn't the old joke with somebody who's like in remodeling or is like a carpenter? They're like, they make everybody else's homes look great, but by the time they get to their house, they want nothing to do with it.
I'll tell a true story about that.
Yeah, I would love to hear it.
First house we built for ourselves was 1988, and I broke the cardinal sin rule.
What's the cardinal sin?
I moved into my own house before I finished it.
Okay. Why is that the cardinal sin? Because you'll never finish it? Yeah.
So we lived in it for 13 years before we moved in, built and moved into the house we did to. It did not have a finished tiled kitchen floor for 13 years.
Then what were you walking on?
Subfloor.
No, you weren't.
As God is my
Yonna,
witness.
is that true, Yonna?
As God is my witness.
Yonna didn't say something to you about that? Every 6 months?
Every 6 months. This took 13 years. And the funny portion of that story is we moved into our new house.
You finished it before you sold it, right?
I did not.
You did not?
We kept it as a rental.
Oh, okay.
So I moved into the new house. We went back and totally renovated that house, right? And because we were in the house for 13 years, and Yonna and I leaned back, and just looked at each other and said, why the hell did we ever move out of this? Oh, it wasn't finished. Literally, that is, if my daughters are watching, they're
watching on Instagram, not Facebook.
Yeah, we had, they're both of them out in Seattle right now having fun. So we had subfloor, didn't even have underlayment down. I had subfloor on my kitchen floor for 13 years before I finished it.
Iris Luck says, contact Andre Luck or Gigi Davis in career services at PVCC. That's a show.
Yeah. So I've got notes, guys. That's what we'll do. It's, when if it's something that don't feel I'm comfortable with, we'll bring experts in to go ahead and do that. But yeah, so to go back to the I think the upward pressure that we're going to have on the existing stuff, and I can't remember the gentleman who quoted the 203K loan.
Christopher Eagle.
Christopher, thank you.
Yeah, he
Thank
loves
you.
this show.
Thank you, Christopher.
Real Estate 3.
Sorry about that, Christopher.
Yeah. He wants to come on.
I know he does. I know he
Can we get him on the show?
Yeah, we can get him on the show.
Okay, come on. He watches every show.
Okay, jeez.
every show.
Yes, Yonna. I'll get to it in 6 months. I promise. Don't remind me every
I was about
6
to jump in with the 6 month joke. and
Do
you
not
took it.
remind me every 6 months.
All right, I'm sorry. Christopher, he's the executive producer. I'm just the lowly producer on the show.
You're much more than that.
I'm the lowly producer.
Yeah, so, we'll see. We're going to keep a track on this stuff. I think it's going to impact Albemarle probably more than anything.
Okay.
Because as we like to do,
I love this stuff.
I
He brought me stats and spreadsheets.
I
love
brought you stats and spreadsheets.
I get excited for stats.
I know that's a scary thought.
Is that bad?
That's bad.
You get excited for stats and spreadsheets?
Not as excited as you do.
I love stats.
There's
and spreadsheets. You know where I told you where I fell in love with it, right?
I don't want to hear it.
When we were growing up, we weren't allowed to watch TV before school at breakfast. So when you have no TV,
You had a TV?
You had no video.
You had a TV.
We would fight over the sports page, my brother and I.
You told me about this.
And then page 2 of the sports page before it went digital,
was the stats.
the box scores.
Oh yeah, sure.
And my brother and I would pour through them, and it got so fisticuffs with the brothers that we had it 10 minutes every morning, and then we had to pass it to the brother.
So we should bring in your parents one day. I'd like to understand what that dynamic was like. Well, you know what? Hey, I've been trying to get you to go on vacation. So
You have. I've
Go.
taken one vacation in 12 years.
well, you should take your lovely bride and your little son, your lovely son, on vacation, and I'll fill in for you. And you might have a business after you're
That's
done.
terrifying.
No, I'll bring your mother and father on,
That's
and we'll.
terrifying.
Oh God, you might have a business
That's
afterwards.
terrifying.
So, anyway, just to go through some of these
Yes.
particular numbers, so I broke things out a little bit, and the folks don't have the ability to take a look at this. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to see what the difference was between new construction and resales and different sectors and different parts. We do this 25-mile radius, and I broke it down to each one of the jurisdictions to include over on the other side of the mountain, which was interesting. Unfortunately for new construction, hey, you're smiling.
Barbara Lundgren. She says, "Call your mom, Jerry."
Barbara, thank you.
I call her Barbara. I called her because Barbara.
We want proof.
I love Barbara Lundgren. Barbara Lundgren reminded me to call my mother, and I called her. And my mom said, "What's prompting this call?" Because it was in the middle of the workday. She's like, prompting this call. She goes,
What's wrong?
I just wanted to say hi and check in. It made her day.
Good for you.
It made her day.
Well, shout out to Barbara. Barbara PM'd me because one of our show is going to be on 9/11.
Okay.
Right, and that's a important day in my life. And
He's a Marine.
I'm a Marine. I'm the son and grandson and great-grandson of New York City firemen. So the folks I grew up with were all firemen. So we lost a lot of friends that day, people I knew. Hard for me to talk about it, but and I told them my story, a little bit more detail in the PM, and she jumped in and said, "I'm there to help you." I mean, what kind of awesome people is that?
Right.
I'm getting chills just thinking
Right.
about it. She goes, "I'm in."
Same thing she did with the fireworks.
Anything I can do to help, and I'll be honest with you. We communicate, but I don't think I've ever met Barbara.
She's amazing.
And
You've seen her on her show?
I do.
Yeah.
I watch the show. But I mean, physically sat down and had a cup of coffee and get to know one another. And I was talking to you about this the other day, and I'm getting off topic a little bit. 2 years ago, I started, it's been a year and a half, 2 years, however long we've been doing this.
The show?
I was like,
Yeah.
I like to talk.
You're like, there's this pesky kid, Jerry, that's like, you're going to be saying to me that you're going to be really good on this show, and there's this pesky kid, Jerry, that's poking me in the ribs,
and I'm thinking,
saying,
okay, what the hell does he want
this
from me?
is where the market's going, and there's this pesky kid, Jerry, that's texting him and elbowing him and say, you and I have chemistry, and realtors need to have content out on social media because this is how they can have the best quarters of their career, this pesky kid, Jerry.
You done?
I am done.
You done? You feel better?
Sorry,
you feel better about yourself?
I do feel better. Thank
Okay.
you. I do
Would you like a hug or something?
No.
Can't do it.
COVID.
Can't do it.
Can't do it, Keith.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Somewhere Yonna's laughing after that comment because
She is, yeah. But in seriousness, virtually met Barbara, but I just never expected what we do to become what we do, and to have somebody to reach out to you and offer, hey, what can I do, and from a heartfelt understanding my personal tragedy from that particular day, and say, hey, I'm there to help you. Man, it's hard for me not to tear up right now.
Take it a step further. This is going to make you cry.
Oh, don't do that.
Ray said,
I cry pretty easily.
If you need taps, I'll be there for 9/11 in your show.
Oh, dude.
Just reach out. It's my honor to do it. How amazing is that? I mean, right?
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 I mean, the man is speechless, and he's never speechless.
No, I'm not.
He's never speechless. Let's go on a one shot over there with the distinguished gentleman,
No.
please.
Let's not do that.
So that'll be an impact.
My mascara will run.
You may even. He likes to look good over there. You trim the stash.
I do. Actually, Yonna does that for me.
She
now.
trims the stash.
Yeah. I
That's a
took
special
the big step and just close my eyes and hold my breath and hope I didn't piss her off, but so much.
You got there's a minute 45 remaining on our Instagram. Let me throw this to you here. You got people asking, what's going to happen for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so we constantly asking that question, and I'll try to fill it up in a year and a half, a minute and a half or less. More of the same. But am
I going to lose this bet? I'm a lot less confident with my bet that I was with you and Michael Guthrie when we were going back and forth on social like a month ago.
But this might impact it.
Yeah.
So this might impact it. So if the new construction prices unfortunately have to go up, which they have to absorb this. I mean, they just can't absorb this type of money. And there's more impact or more pressure on the existing homes. The volume of sales are just going to go down.
Oh, Barbara says, I'm literally crying watching this show because of what you guys are talking about. I hope my son doesn't call right now. She's tearing up.
Yeah, she's good people. Maybe we should do a show together. I'll sit across the table, mask up, and
I think that's.
Yeah.
Well, she's the executive producer. I'm just the lowly producer.
Got it.
You have to run that through her.
Well, then, as the executive producer of my show, she's welcome to come on anytime.
Okay, there you go. I'm the lowly producer.
I
don't make any decisions here.
Did we ever find a max headroom? We got to do that. One of these days, there's a video.
Instagram Live only gives us 22 more seconds over here.
Okay.
More comments coming in for you. Judah just commented to you.
You can go find one. That'd be fun.
Wait, what are you telling?
Max headroom.
What is he saying? What are you guys doing?
It's okay.
You want the video?
Well, it's all video, right? So find like a little. Yeah.
Tell him what you're looking for as I dot the I's and cross the T's on the IG.
Max Headroom was an MTV thing back in like 1984, 3, 4, and 5.
Okay.
We probably shouldn't do that. It might be a bit insulting. I don't know if Robin.
Keith is thinking.
I'm rethinking.
He's rethinking it. Yona's like, don't do it, Smith.
I'm rethinking this thought.
Don't do it, Smith.
Yeah. I'm just like, that's like, don't piss off the chef who's making your meal. Maybe I shouldn't piss off the guy who's helping me run the show.
No. Long Island native girl here, Carol Thorpe, 343.
Yep.
I love your show, Keith Smith.
343.
Carol Thorpe just put that in the feed.
Yep.
Dude, I love this.
Yeah, so
343 is the area code?
No, that's the number of firemen that were killed.
Oh, okay.
There's 343 firemen killed.
343.
That does not include the police officers, the Port Authority, other EMS folks. That was just firemen.
Your buddy Neil has put the art of noise in the feed with Max.
Did he put the max headroom up?
Yeah.
Did he? There you go. That's it.
Here's the video. I don't know how this is going to work. I guess you can go to the studio camera, Judah, right? Yeah. All right. See.
We got to get past
this.
This
is from Neil Williamson. I got to get past this ad real quick. You're on the studio cam, J-Dubs? All right, guys. Those that are watching on Facebook, look at the screen now.
I don't think they can hear it, though.
No, they can't hear it. Yeah, they can only see the video here. I do remember this from MTV.
So he plays a newscaster guy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I see it.
Could be.
There you go. He's got blue eyes.
Could be. It's a 1980s thing.
Okay.
I'm dating myself.
You
a
are
little.
dating yourself.
Thank you, Neil, for doing
Yeah,
that.
thank you, Neil Williamson. We love Neil Williamson on the show.
Well,
dude,
he's kind of like become a third participant in the show, right? Unofficial.
Neil,
He won't come on.
I'm going to straight up say
He
this,
won't come
Neil.
on.
I genuinely enjoy when you watch the shows and provide content and feedback. There was a UVA game that day, 9/11. I think the game is I don't think there's a game on 9/11, Barb. I think
Well, it's Friday is 9/11, I believe. If I
they're
got my
playing
count.
the Hokies the following week, right, in Blacksburg.
Well, it'll be 10:15 on Friday. I believe the 11th. It's 9/11.
9/11 is what day is 9/11?
It's Friday, I believe.
It's your show.
It's a Friday. Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm, yeah.
so you got to make that a special show.
That's what Barbara and I were talking
Were
about.
you thinking fire chiefs at all?
Actually, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that'd be a great show.
We have to talk about it after here because I've been wanting to try to push you into a virtual roundtable.
Rick Tambrino says Max has dreamy blue eyes.
He's talking about me.
Oh, he's talking about you. I think he's talking about the person we just put on screen.
No.
Oh, he's talking about you? Do you
Totally.
have blue eyes?
Of course I do.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
Rick's talking about me.
I've got a Max video, but you guys wouldn't be able to see it.
We wouldn't
Got
be
it.
able to see it. Guthrie says existing homes will be helped if new construction prices go up.
Repeat that, please.
Existing homes will be helped if
Yeah,
new
that's
construction
exactly right.
prices go up. That's what we've been saying.
As we've been saying,
Yeah.
yeah. I just the definition of helped is it going to put too much pressure on it and make it more difficult from a buyer's perspective, right? We're right now dealing with multiple offers to start with. That a percentage of the market is going into new construction. If some portion of that percentage comes back into existing, it's just going to make, again, to echo. Some of Michael's terminologies is that's when you're really going to need a true professional trusted advisor.
So, Keith, we got
What time we got?
yeah, it flew
Oh my
by.
God,
We're already
look at
at
that.
5 minutes over. Can you believe that? I mean, I don't even. That's the first time I looked at the clock. It was 11:13. So the first time I looked at the clock while you and I were doing the show, we were 58 minutes in.
Really?
And then I looked at the clock. I'm like, oh my God, it's 58 minutes because it just flybys and it's fun.
Well, I love I love having guests, right?
Yeah.
But I do like this part. I
Yeah, it's
really
fun.
do. A lot of
Yeah,
fun.
and it allows us to interact with the audience a little more.
Well, that's what I was hoping. I'm glad to see it happen. That's what I was hoping would happen today is get the audience to get into it and see if we can change the conversation going a little bit the other way. But man, at the end of the day, the Fed is saying it. I can't really argue with them too much, and folks like Dr. Yonna is saying it. But we're going to end up with this interest rate at this point well through into and possibly through 2021. So I just
Rick says it's not you.
he's a jarhead, so we're just doing some jarhead stuff, some marine stuff. It's okay, Rick. I still love you though.
I enjoyed today's show. Do we have a video?
We do have a video. We talked about this on a couple of shows before. I put together a little video about forbearances and that it didn't happen what everybody expected it to, and some basic numbers. So we're excited about that. So Tuesday, we got a rock star coming in,
Angelique.
talking about fried everything.
Talking about being Angelique Hawkins-Jenkins. She's an entrepreneur. She's expanding. She's going from a food truck to your buddy Chris Henry's Dairy Market.
So this program or this feature that we're going to be doing, I think, is growing into a couple of months about showcasing it. I've got probably about 6 or 7 local businesses stacked up, and so we'll spend 15, 20 minutes chatting about them and giving them some kudos, and we can move forward. And then on Tuesday, we're going to get back to this, okay, buyers, here's the new reality, and kind of debunking a few things.
This is gonna go to your head, and I'm even hesitant to even say this. Yonna, I'm hesitant to say the comment.
So that you know, I can read them.
Oh no, she can read them. Damn it, that's the problem with taking and streaming it to the. Do you see it on the bottom? You see the bottom one?
No, I'll let you say it.
No, you can see it though, right?
I'll let you tell me. It sounds
so, Yonna,
so much
this is
better.
going to go to his head. I'm hesitant to say this, Yonna. Iris Luck, we love Iris Luck on this network. She's amazing. She says, this is a great show. Thank you, gentlemen. This is what I'm hesitant to read.
Well,
Can Keith be on here more often? Can Keith be on here more often? And Keith's like, well, we can do that. A lot of people say that to me. A lot of people say that about you.
I'm not sure Mrs. Smith would appreciate that so much.
Why? Because we're spending too much time?
No, Smith get to work.
Well, this is work.
To me, it's not work.
Keeping you're right.
That's
it's
not
fun,
working.
but it's keeping the Yes Team Realtors top of mind.
Yeah. Well, I'm very fortunate. I don't think I've worked a day in my life.
Same with me. Make your passion your profession. You don't work a day in your life. Now, some days are better than others. You know what I mean?
Some days you're a little less passionate than others.
Right. But I feel the same, dude.
At the end of the day. But, Iris, that's what I'm trying to get my Robin here to take a vacation, and I'm offering I'll sit in that spot, and we'll have all kinds of fun.
But he caveats that favor by saying your business may still be here when you get back. I know it's a joke.
Kidding.
And you would actually do exceptionally well. That's why I tried.
But I had my fingers crossed when I said it.
He doesn't look me in the eye when he
No, I'm not looking
have you noticed that we have woven Smith into the network more? We've done, what are we doing now? Tuesdays, Fridays, and a spot on Monday.
You are.
And it's because I think you are talented at this. You are talented.
My head,
You might not be able to get out the door.
My Catholic in me is not taking this well, so thank you.
How about some props before we get out of here for Judah?
Oh, man. I was actually thinking about that the other day. On one hand, I'm complimenting you on how you're growing your network. On the other hand, man, he's got to doing the job of a half a dozen people. So
I wouldn't say that.
Look at that face. He would.
He gets hefty raises every year.
Dude, just to put up with you.
That's true.
I'm only kidding.
That's true. Paula Ann said, definitely a lively show today, one of the best.
Thank you. Well, you've got a noon.
I got to go.
You got a noon show.
He's got a video.
And he's got a video, and I got to.
You got to go to work.
I got to figure out how to make money.
You got to go to work. Judah Woodcower, Keith Smith, this is Real Talk. This is an insider's guide to real estate life and the pursuit of happiness. It's presented by trusted advisors in the game, Keith and Yonna Smith, the Yes Team Realtors. Guys, you just saw an hour of how this man's integrity, his character, how legit he is as a person, and he straight up will take this process with his beautiful, better 7/8 and streamline it for you and make it good.
And please, we didn't give enough shout outs, but we have some awesome sponsors.
MarieBette,
Pearl Certification.
Charlottesville Settlement Company.
Oh, we're going to do this?
Yeah, your turn. Who's going to forget first? I'm not going to forget.
Because you're looking at it. That's not fair. That's cheat. MarieBette. Oh, there you go.
Smith, it's right
Scott
there.
Morris.
Judah Woodcower is laughing. You know it's funny if Judah Woodcower is laughing. Oh, I love this damn show. Judah Woodcower, you have that video? All right, let's close with that video, and you probably should turn the mics off.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling Smith and I are going to be saying something stupid when we think the mics are on or off. All right, play that video in 3 and 2.
Have a great weekend, folks.
And 1.